Do you want to launch a group coaching program, but you have no idea what questions you should ask on your application? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. Hey messengers, welcome to the Market Your Message Show. I'm your host, Jonathan Milligan, and author of the book, Your Message Matters. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the 6 must-ask questions for your group coaching application funnel. So maybe you want to do a group coaching program, or maybe even want to just do a coaching program that's one-on-one. Both scenarios work for today's topic, but you're just not sure what questions to ask. You know, I have been doing coaching online way back since 2010 when back in the day, I was doing career coaching for accounting and finance professionals. Today, I primarily do a group coaching program called Online Business Insider, where me and my team of coaches kind of roll up our sleeves and we work personally with people in our program, primarily helping them to get their first 1,000 customers. That's what our program is all about. So I thought it might be helpful to actually go behind the scenes and show you exactly how we have our application process set up. And maybe this will give you inspiration for what you can do for yours. This is something we've tweaked. This is something that over time we perfected. And honestly, we're still always trying to make it better. But the way that we have it set up now works incredibly well. And I want to walk you through that. So here's what you're going to discover actually on today's episode. Why you should start with a grease the wheels question. And I'll explain what that is. How to find out if they can afford your program before you even get on the phone call with them. Number 3, what services or products they are interested in. It's important to find that out before you even get started, and much more. By the way, if you don't yet have a copy of my latest book, Your Message Matters, we're sending out free copies to people who are listeners of the show. All you got to do is go to yourmessagemattersbook.com and we will send you out the book to your door. And you can read it. 267 pages. It lays out the entire 4-step framework to take your passion and turn it into a platform online. All right, let's get into these 6 questions. And what I thought might be helpful is to share my screen. And if you're listening to the podcast, no worries. I'll explain everything step by step. But if you want to see a visual of what I'm describing, you can always hop over to the YouTube channel. Just search for my name, Jonathan Milligan, on YouTube. Find our channel, or you can click a link in the description of the podcast. So the first thing you're going to want to start with is you're actually going to want to start with having a page that you're going to send all of your traffic. So whether you're driving people from a Facebook ad, from a podcast interview, from an email, from a Facebook Live, everything goes to this main page. Now for us, that is the page marketyourmessage.com/call. So that's the page that we drive all the traffic to. On that page is real simple. There is a headline that says, want me and my team to build and grow your online business with you and even for you. There is a video of me just briefly describing what the program is. And then there's a button that says book your call now. Now, before we go straight to the calendar, what we actually do is we ask them a series of about 4 to 6 questions. So what I want to do is walk you through how we currently have things set up and why we have them set up this way. So we use a system, a software called Bucket.io. This is the 2.0 version of it. And I am on the screen, I'm showing behind the scenes. For the podcast, it just looks like a kind of a flow map of how everything's set up. I'm going to walk you through it. After someone clicks on a button to book a call, a pop-up shows up and it shows them question number 1. Now, this first question should be what's called a grease the wheels question. Now, what is a grease the wheels question? A grease the wheels question is something I learned from Ryan Levesque, and he had learned this strategy after helping thousands of people do online quizzes. Your very first question needs to be so easy, it's impossible for that person to fail. So what you don't want to do on question number 1 is say something like, what is your biggest challenge? That one, they may know, but they may not. They're like, I don't know. There's a lot of things I'm troubled with. And they may just bounce and not answer it. Or you don't want to ask, question number 1 is, how much can you afford for coaching? Right? Again, that's a hard question to lead with. So an easy question, the one that we've chosen, is simply, what's your first name? They're going to know what that is. And what that does is it creates a mini commitment to help them move through the process of answering the 6 questions. All right. Question number 2 in our application is, what's your best email address? Again, super easy, super simple. We're asking it up front. Now, why are we asking for the email address up front instead of at the very end, right? You might be asking that. We used to ask at the very end, but if someone does the first 2 questions but doesn't complete their application, we can still follow up with them if we choose to get them to finish, right? Because we've done what? We've captured their email address, right? So that's question 2. Question number 3 for us is a multiple choice question. Now, the way that this question is asked is it's laid out this way. Which of the service options are you most interested in? Now, you might want to come up with a different question if you don't have more than one service option. But for us, we have a do it all for me, a do it with me, or do it myself. So let me explain each of these. And you might even consider adding these in there, even if you don't yet have these programs in place, because all it's doing is it's allowing them to decide which of these they're interested in. And the way that we have this, if you can see this on the screen, is we tell them choose all that apply. So even though it's multiple choice, they can choose more than one, but they're required to choose at least one. So one is do it all for me. I'd love for Jonathan and his team to build my website, write my book, create my offers, and build my funnel. Question 2, do it with me. Says, I'd like to do the work myself, but with the support of Jonathan and his team in a group coaching environment. And then number 3 is do it myself. I'm tech savvy. I want to do it all myself. I just want access to the courses and training. Now, the reason why this is so helpful is because it allows us, before we jump on the actual sales call, to know the frame of mind. What is this person thinking, right? If they just want to do it all themselves, we know that this person's probably resistant to coaching for some reason, or they just want the courses for some reason. We can ask about that. We can get into that a little bit more. So it's super helpful to know what people are open to. All right. Question number 4 then is the money question. All right. Now here's the way that we currently have this divided up, and we've tested different price points, and it's sometimes you're just trying to get a feel for it. Like we used to have options that were much higher, but then we found that we needed to separate that out. So let's actually get into this question. Let me tell you a little bit how we currently have it right now. And again, we're always testing this. Question 4 says, how much money are you able or willing to invest to grow your online business over the next 12 months? So you can phrase this any which way you want. How much money are you able or willing to invest in improving your marriage relationship if you're a marriage coach, or improving your health if you're a health coach? So we have 4 options right now, and we keep testing these to find like the sweet spot. So the highest one we have is $7,000 up. If they're in the $7,000 up range, they might be more interested in our higher ticket done for you service, right? Then we have $3,000 to $7,000. That gets us kind of in the low part of a group coaching program, right? And then if they're in the 1,000 to 3,000 range, which is option number 3, they're willing to invest some money. So they may be more in line with one of our courses to start off with, possibly. And then finally, we have the lowest one is $0. I don't have money to invest in my online business. Now, if they check that box, we have kind of conditional formatting, if you will, that if they check the I have no money box, they get pushed to a different set of questions, because we have a third-party funding solution that people who feel like they don't have the money to invest, but maybe they have okay credit, we have a third-party funding where they can apply to get funded for that amount and then just pay back in low monthly payments instead of using a credit card, or they don't have the savings in their savings account. That gives them another option. So we have a couple of questions that we introduce in that scenario. So let's jump back in and talk about this. All right, so let's back up and let's jump into the next question. So based on what they tell us in our conditional formatting, if they answer the top 2, so if they answer I have $7,000 or more, or I'm in the $3,000 to $7,000 range, we send them directly to go book their call, right? So we say, hey, congratulations, click here, let's book your call. That's what we do with them. If anybody is less than $3,000 that they are able or willing to invest, we have them answer a couple more questions. Okay? So the first question we ask is, if we determine that this is a good fit, which is important, right? You want to make sure that's a good fit. Would you like to use our third-party funding to fund the program? So again, anybody who answers that they have less than $3,000 using our example, we ask them another question before they're allowed to set up a call with us. Why are we doing that? Well, we're asking a few additional questions because I want to make sure that they're qualified for my sales team. When they jump on the call with them, they know that either they're open to funding and they have a decent credit, or they have the funding. And what happens by asking these questions for our high ticket group coaching program, we average 25% close rate. That means every 4 people we talk to, 1 joins our high ticket group coaching program. That's pretty high. I know there's others that they have probably higher than that, but what we have found is that's pretty high for us. And that's because we do a good job of qualifying a prospect up front. Okay. So if they say no to being open to third-party funding, then what we do is we send them to, hey, it looks like coaching may not be your best option right now, and that's okay. But the good news is we have a $45 a month membership site where you can still get access to Jonathan's training, live classes, and so on. So that way we didn't totally lose that prospect. But if they said, I have no money and I'm not interested in funding, they don't need to be on a call with my sales team, right? And that saves time for everybody. But what they can do is start with a $45 a month membership site and still get the coaching that they desire in a different format. All right, now let's jump back. If they say yes to the third-party funding, if they say, yes, I'm open to third-party funding, then we have 2 additional questions. The first one is, what is your annual household income? Is it less than 40K or more than 40K? The reason we chose 40K is our third-party funding source that we use wants to see that they have at least $40,000 in income. So again, if they say no, we send them to, hey, it looks like maybe you're not ready for this, join Lab, which is our membership site. If they say, yes, I have more than 40K, then we send them one more question. This is the final question. What is your credit score? Please take your best guess. Now, obviously, not everybody knows what their credit score is in the moment. They may or may not know it, but at least gives us a good idea. And we have 4 options. It's less than 600. it's 600 to 620, it's 620 to 650, and it's 650. Now, why did we choose 620? Because again, our third-party funding wants to see at least a 620 credit score in order for that person to get funding. So if they answer any of those above 620, they then go book a call. If they don't, they get routed to our lab, our membership site. Now, you might say, Jonathan, this feels a little advanced, and I agree, but this is what helps us to qualify people. Now, if you don't want to do the kind of the conditional questioning, then pull out some questions or ask them all and just see where everyone lands. And you also don't have to use something like Bucket. It can be done with Google Forms. You can use, SurveyMonkey. There's lots of survey tools out there that can handle the applications. There's a lot out there. Let's just say that. But this is what works for us. And by doing so, again, we're able to get qualified prospects into our group coaching program using these fundamental 6 questions. So how do you like that? Was that helpful to you? Does that energize you about launching your own one-on-one coaching program or group coaching program? Let us know. And also, if you have yet not grabbed a copy of my latest book, this is the same book you can get in the bookstores for $17, but I'll actually send you a free copy to your doorstep. All you got to do is go to yourmessagemattersbook.com and get your free copy today. Well, that is it for this episode. What would you like for me to cover on future episodes? Let me know. And also take a moment right now and like, share, subscribe, or even review our show. That way we know this is helpful content and also helps us to let other people know about the show. All right, until next time, never forget, your message matters.